All right. Hello, friends. Thank you for joining me again today. My name's Dan. Let me say that again. My name's Dan, not my name's Stan. Anyway, Dan. Daily Auto Adventure 689. Can you believe it? Cafe Vertical. Now, all you regulars, what? You're back at that same place? Yeah. Let me show you where I am. Okay, forgive the earthquake ride here for a minute, but I'm just gonna show you. I painted not the same angle, but I painted almost this exact same location just last week. So the way this works, I jump in my car, head downtown or wherever I'm painting, and I drove around for a good 45 minutes today. Jumped out several places, taking pictures, and finally decided this is where I want to hang out and paint. So again, I did this same blue umbrellas, 2 weeks ago was it? Something like that. Barbara Barbara bought that painting. It's on its way to you, Barbara, as we speak. I will give you a tracking number when I get home. I don't have it on me. My wife ran the errand for me, bless her, and got that on its way to you. So here I am once again. You ready? I am. Here I am. I'm painting the view right there to our right, right there. The umbrellas, the Briggs hardware building, and
you're the artist?
I am an artist. Either that or I'm just pretending.
I can finger paint a lot.
Good for you.
Yes, sir. Are you my favorite today?
Yep.
A small favorite today?
Pardon?
You my favorite today?
No, can't. Don't have a penny on me. Sorry, buddy. So any new people that are watching and you're wondering what in the world is he doing? Okay, we go through this. We go through this every time, don't we? Every painting, just about. Just in case the marks that I'm making right now have absolutely nothing to do with the subject I'm painting, except in a contrary relationship. That is, I've tried to make marks that are completely opposite in shape, and I've tried to use colors that are completely opposite to the realistic color. Okay, so it's just a completely abstract marks. Now, I would very much say that I'm still evolving in this, whatever you call it, abstract underneath realistic painting. And it's still developing, so we'll see. All right, I think I could actually give you some green to start my drawing, and I'm sorry I can't show you guys the subject matter and my canvas at the same time. But with current technology that I have, I can't do that. Maybe someday. Once again, all these marks that I'm making right now are just very wild stabs in the dark. I think it's. I think these marks are going to go somewhere roughly like this. Again, I talk about that all the time too. I beat that horse to death all the time as well. Lots of dead horses. We have dead horses laying all over the place here. I beat them all to death. All you horse lovers are going, oh no, don't even say it. It's not even funny. That's the voice. If you didn't know, that's the voice of horse lovers. They always talk that way. You ever notice that? You ever run into a horse lover? They talk like this. Evidently. Oh boy. Not really. Don't send me any nasty comments. I will just ignore them. Send a note to my wife and say, your husband, somebody needs to straighten him out. Man, it's been a while since I did a drastically vertical painting. So I wish that I had a board I could attach to my canvas way off to the right there and stick a nail in it and make that my vanishing point. That would be sweet. I certainly have done such things at home in my studio. I would create physical vanishing points. Not infrequently. That was a fairly common occurrence, actually, to build a physical vanishing point. Typically a paper clip twisted around and stuck to a piece of foam core or something like that, way off to the right. Can you imagine that? So I extend my drawing table by 3 or 4 feet in 1 or 2 directions. Anyway, yeah, used to do that kind of stuff. Not infrequently. And I am definitely going to do a vertical vanishing point on this painting. See, when I did this light a while ago, I failed to do so. So let me redraw that right away. So that means a vanishing, like this, vanishing point about 10 feet above. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening indeed. Are you all from Raleigh?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
Suffolk, Virginia.
Oh, wow. Welcome. I think I'll go through there hopefully this coming Friday. I'm painting a festival in Norfolk Jazz Festival. Well, welcome to Raleigh. Hope you have a good time.
Thank you.
If you all will pardon, whoops. Okay, I guess I'm not going to move my car. A big suburban-y kind of thing just pulled up from behind me.
How much are you painting?
This one, well, we're not sure yet. The last bid is $250.
Oh, you got bid. Okay.
But yep, but I won't take less than 5, probably 6 for that. Wow. Okay, so once again, let me reiterate here. I am so fishing. That's really the best word for it here. I am so fishing for lines. This subject matter, I'll show it to you again in a few minutes. This is one of those cases where it really would not be a bad idea to do a grid of some kind, because this is going to take me, I'm going to waste a lot of time, so to speak. Whoops, that ain't right. There we go. Quick correction. I'm going to waste quite a bit of time just trying to get things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't count either. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, for starters, both of my street lights are considerably too short, so let's make that correction. And then I think my umbrellas are too low. Yeah. This painting is already getting to be such a mess. This might be one of those times where I really do erase, so to speak, erase some of my erroneous lines, simply because the drawings, the canvas is going to get so messy, I won't remember what's what. I won't remember which line is the right line, you know. But I'm not going to start there. I'm not going to start with that yet. So down here is a bunch of tables. Oh, and this one goes right off the canvas. What was I thinking? And there are going to be people down here, so let's just do some people shapes really quickly. Standing, sitting, walking. Horizon is, yeah, about that level. So people that are standing, that's what they'll look like. That's what they'll look like. I don't mean not exactly what they'll look like, but okay, a lot of energy down there. A lot of stuff going on. Big windows here. Woo! What a mess, what a mess, what a mess. And unfortunately my music died. It's not important to you guys, but I'm going to mention it anyway. If there's any techie guy out there that can tell me why my personal Wi-Fi plays a song or two and then drops out, I would sure like to know that one. All right, I think I'm going to go a very rare move here. I'm going to go straight to white, right ahead to white paint so that I can start defining things and correcting things. Hello.
You're here again.
Thank you. I am here again. Yep.
You already finished the other one?
Oh, yeah. Finished, sold, shipped. I'm using a very rare move, very rare move here, using opaque blue. So of course that just means I dipped my transparent blue into my white paint to create a temporary opaque color. All right, now that I've got all that opaque stuff, oh, I had a terrible thing happen when I unpacked here today. I discovered, you know, I have to put out a better search. I discovered that I only have one black pencil. That would be a mild, not a huge, but a mild disaster. I don't even know how that could happen because I never take them out of here. My goodness. It's true, only one black pencil. Why is that a disaster? Because I always draw with two hands. I cannot draw with one hand. Wow. So it's experiment time, or it's crazy time. I'm going to use a watercolor pencil in my other hand. I'm doing this view again.
Yes,
a little bit different.
The blue things right here?
What?
The blue things right there?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yep.
Oh, but from a different view. From a
Yeah.
different view.
And vertical instead of horizontal.
All right.
Yep.
You good at what you do. God bless your
Thank
heart,
you,
man.
thank you.
Good to see you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Keep me in your prayers. Pastor,
I gotta ask you something.
Yeah.
you remember we used to come to Moore Square, you used to minister to all us at Moore Square?
Yeah.
Oh, you forgot?
No.
Old Moore Square, not this new one they got.
I
now.
do remember.
Remember that? You
I
used
do
to draw
indeed.
in, but you used to minister.
Should we do that again?
Yeah, you used to minister to us.
Would you like to do that again? All right,
you
you
still
just
pastor?
yeah.
You still pastor?
Yeah.
Used to minister to us. Used to I can't say. I started minister. Used to minister.
That's right.
Minister to us all the time. Just tell about Jesus all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah. Should we do that again?
Like Sunday or Saturday, one of them days. You would
Saturday
come.
night.
One of the days you would come. Yeah.
Okay, well I'll consider.
Why would we do that no more? We liked it, that.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that.
Cool. You will help us in any kind of way. We
Yep.
be so, I'm gonna call it up. We be so depressed
Really?
and everything. You would walk up to us, how you doing? What's up? We
Really?
come to you, look at your picture, you minister to us. You should get us right.
I'm glad to hear it.
You should get us right.
Thank you.
Don't do that no more.
I'll consider it.
Yeah, but Moore Square different now. They
Yeah.
ain't got nobody in there helping us now. And they open.
Yeah,
Nobody.
I know what you
They
mean.
got that high price restaurant.
That's right. Yep. One of my old parishioners there. Wow. Something's not right. But I've got to have this lamppost here, though. I can't. It can't be any further out than that. What I've done is I've taken the building behind it and extended it that way. That's what I've done, which I think is a correct decision as well. So I'm not going to change that either. I sure hope people come here tonight and eat at these at these tables. Otherwise, I just have to make everything up. I would rather have reference, of course. I can make up people, don't worry. But it's more fun to have real people. You know what I mean? snap a few surreptitious photographs. Well, that pencil sure got worn out. It wore it right down to the nubs, past the nubs. I've been drawing with pure wood here. Good. How are you?
I'll be all right.
Good.
I don't mean to interrupt your work.
That's all right. That's all right. You can hang out for a while.
I was caught up with you. Your name Dan Nelson.
It is.
Absolutely.
That's right. Good job. Hey. What a mess, huh? All right. Some of this white is still not dry, so I'm going to do the old dry the white paint technique, which means take a fairly dry brush and run it with big strokes through any of the white paint that's not dry yet. So that means the thick stuff, right? The places where the white paint went on fast. And I always tell you, it has to be done with fast, big, bold, long strokes, not little wispy things, not little feathery strokes. No, big, bold, long, straight strokes. If I may, every move you make with a paintbrush, let's just limit ourselves to painting for the moment. Every move you make with a paintbrush, with assuming the paintbrush has paint on it, okay? Is that all right too? I'm assuming that. Every move you make with a paintbrush leaves a perfectly legible history of that movement, and I can hardly emphasize the perfect aspect of that. I can hardly overemphasize. Let me repeat it. Every mark, every movement, that's what I'm trying to say, every move you make with a paintbrush leaves a perfectly delible record of that movement. All right, so what I want you to be thinking if you're painting is I don't want you to be thinking about marks. In fact, most of you, if you're a beginner painter, so that was a crazy statement. If you are a beginner painter, in my opinion, you should be more focused on your movements and less focused on your marks. As it is, let me tell you who you are. Let me tell you what you're doing. As it is, you are, if you're a beginner, you're doing the very, very, very opposite of that. You're consumed with the marks that you're making. And if you want to be a better painter quicker, stop focusing on the marks and start focusing on literally the movements, like a ballet dancer, like a golfer. Who else? What other area of human endeavor does, you know, well, all kinds of athletics focus on the movements themselves. stop focusing on the marks and start focusing on the ballet of your movements, and you'll be a better painter instantly. Ignore the marks, focus on the movements, and you'll be a better painter instantly. Most of you aren't believing me. You're not going to do what I say, but somebody somewhere out there will believe me, and you will become a better painter far faster than those who are ignoring me. The reason most of you, if let's just say you're not a very good painter. Now, I'm not saying that about you, but let's just say if you are not a very good painter, I know why you're not. It's because you're bad movements. That's why. And the depth of the reality of the truth of what I just said is so true. It just cannot possibly overemphasize. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Very good. Thanks for shooting me.
No problem.
So make your movements beautiful and your marks will follow. Every mark is a history of a human movement. And we, all of us, we can tell what kind of movements those were by looking at the marks, because the marks leave a perfectly delible, traceable, recordable, discernible, readable history of your movements. And if you're not a very good painter, that's why. It's because your movements are not good. All right. I guess I'm close. Okay, I'm going to do some more dark marks while this is all still wet and sloshy. I'll do some more wet and sloshy on top of it. So here I just moved that lamp post to the right about an inch. Do you see that? And that's what you do. You just keep moving things as soon as you notice they're not in the right place. Hello. I think this roof is not high enough. Got a dud brush here. Stiff. Let's see if I can pound it out a little bit. Nope. I did not get the shape of these umbrellas very accurately at all, so time to come back and get those things right. there's a fourth umbrella back here that is barely visible. And three umbrellas would be fine, honestly. But oh, that's a fat umbrella pole. But I want 4 tables down here to fill up that space. So at the moment, at least, I'm going to go ahead and put 4 umbrellas up there, even though you can hardly see one of them. Now that right there, that's what you call a horrible mess right there. You picked up some wet paint underneath, and that's okay, except that some of that wet paint was white, and that is not okay. So that right there is muddy. It'll be fixed, of course, as I continue to do transparent layers on top of it. But at the moment, that is ugly. Lots of very interesting architecture. Lots of stuff to keep me busy. That's for sure. These 2 buildings is the main reason I'm here, really. Filled with all kinds of early 20th century interesting, slightly Victorian, I guess, detail. I don't know if that's a term or not, but I'm going to call it slightly Victorian, loosely Victorian, early 20th century anyway. And again, that's the main reason I'm here, honestly, is because of that interesting architecture. By the way, I had some critic a long time ago now. You hear a lot of stuff when you broadcast live because you hear echoes of all kinds of crazy things that people have been taught by art teachers over the years. And some of I should say all of it, I go, wait a minute, I've never heard that before. I do not dismiss it out of hand, believe me. That's what foolish people do, is they dismiss something. If they've never heard it before, they dismiss it out of hand. And I try to make a habit of not doing that, but I consider it. So here's one that I heard a while ago. Evidently, some art professor somewhere says that if you see this kind of perspective, buildings leaning in because of a vanishing point way up there, evidently some art professor somewhere says that you should never do that, because that's proof that the painting or drawing was done from a photograph. And I scratched my head and I thought about that for a while. This is quite a long time ago. Well, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, I don't know when. And thought about it. And then after thinking about it for a while, determined that, in fact, that's ridiculous. That is absurd. Absolutely absurd. Now, I don't know why. There might be a grain of truth somewhere that I'm not seeing, but I tell you, I am not seeing it. I'm standing here, I'm looking at these buildings. That vanishing point is absolutely registering on my retina. That has nothing to do with working from a photograph. So I don't know. If somebody out there knows, oh yeah, this is what they were trying to say, they didn't say it right. I don't know. But anyway, it is absolutely perfectly, legal, permissible, whatever, to render this vertical vanishing point, I'll call it at the moment, especially if if you could see it. So especially in this case. Now, many times I falsely straighten out tall buildings. You know, if you probably know, I paint cityscapes more than anything else, and many times I do in fact eliminate that third perspective vanishing point from my paintings, and I make all the vertical paintings, all the vertical buildings, truly vertical. And in that case, I'm just trying to diminish confusion. I don't think most people don't look at a cityscape and say, wait a minute, shouldn't those buildings be leaning in? I've never heard anybody say that. So, for whatever it's worth, no. If you got assaulted by that same erroneous art teacher, and I release you. That is not true. That is to say, it is not true that the vertical vanishing point is evidence that it was done from a photograph. And again, are we good? Yeah, okay. A few chats, you guys. Good to see you. Just for what it's worth, thinking of an art teacher somewhere that would say something demonstrably false, but say I have it probably with considerable conviction, that is not entirely out of character for artists. And I'm going to use as an analogy here, because I experienced this kind of thing actually quite a bit over the years. Yes, I sure do. Yes, sir.
So I can send you these pictures?
Absolutely. Please do. Thank
right.
you, man.
Thank you. Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
one.
Thank you. In the music world, this kind of thing, I think, may even be even more ubiquitous than in the visual art world. What kind of thing? I'm going to call it, at the risk of sounding offensive or exaggerating slightly, metaphysical mumbo jumbo. And those of you who if you're any serious musicians out there, you might know what I'm talking about. Metaphysical mumbo jumbo. There's something about, I don't know how to say it, the human psyche. Hang on a second, I'm not sure that, let me check this. Ooh, yeah, no, this line's wrong. Oh, I'm glad I caught that. Ooh. Okay, let's make some corrections there. There's something about when you're a human being and you're absolutely consumed with the activity of trying to create, say, beautiful music on an instrument. And, it's impossible for human beings to play any instrument perfectly. That's well-known truism in the musical world. And yet we all, musicians, are all trying so hard to do that very thing. That is to perform on their musical instruments perfectly. That they'll try anything, they'll sort of believe anything. That's overly harsh. But they're so desperate to try to figure out, and some of you, if you're not a musician, sorry, it's hard for you to relate. If you are extremely excellent at any human endeavor, then you can relate to this. Extremely excellent, extremely excellent. Video games do not count, sorry kids. Well, it does actually, but only to 1 in a million, and you are not one of those 1 in a million. Woo! So, extreme excellence. Hang on. I think I've done the old trick. I've made the front of this building too wide. That's an old trick, old mistake. It's not a trick, it's a mistake. often made in portraiture. The term is called frontalizing. When you have to do a portrait and the model, the person is like, turned 2/3 or 3/4 toward you, but 1/3 or 1/4 away from you. We portrait painters have a tendency to turn the face as we're rendering it. We tend often to make a mistake and tend to turn the face toward the viewer. And I've discovered the same exact mistake happens when painting buildings. So you see, I'm seeing this face of this building at an extreme angle. We tend to frontalize it. That is, move it this way. Do you see what I mean? Let me take a minute and show you guys. It's been a while since I showed you, and I'm sure many of you have joined us in the last several minutes. So forgive the earthquake ride. I'm just going to pick you up and turn you at the subject matter. So there it is. Of course, it's a vertical, so I'm looking up like that, not quite that high. But there you go. So you can see I'm especially the farther the buildings, the farther away they get, the more oblique my viewpoint is, right? The angle that I'm at which I'm viewing those buildings grows ever more oblique. And we artists make the same mistake on buildings that we tend to make on portraits of people's faces. And that is called frontalizing. That is, we tend to turn it toward the front. So I'm glad I caught it when I did. I feel like this little last strip right here is sky. Whoops, and I'm missing a tree. There's a big tree there. Yeah, and I want that. Let me go ahead and do some green. By the way, I always feel kind of funny doing green in representing a tree. And I'm always afraid a child or a young student will be watching and say, "Oh yeah, trees are green." Okay, so I just mixed up a whole bunch of other stuff with this. So it's not. The reason I'm using green is not in order to reflect the actual color of that tree, but it's just a shorthand way of reminding myself later, oh, that's right, this is a tree. So, but watch out. Green is as you all know, if you watch me at all, watch some other people, green is a very dangerous color. So anyway, I just made it there because I was talking about I mixed purple and orange and some kind of blue and maybe brown with that to make it a very dirty green. Okay, back to white now. General rule of thumb. Of course, I start my paintings in acrylics and then graduate to, forgive me, I'm talking so slowly, and then graduate, of course, I'm still talking slowly, graduate to oil. I got it. I start acrylics and graduate to oil. One of the questions is always, when do you switch to oil? And the answer is when the drawing is almost perfectly correct, when the colors are almost perfectly correct, and even maybe most importantly, I'm not sure. No, drawing's most important, but a close second maybe is when the values are almost correct. So there you go. How do you know when it's time to switch from acrylics to oils? The answer is, number one, when the drawing is essentially, I'm going to say perfect. It doesn't actually need to be perfect, but I don't want some of you, if you're not a good drawer, I don't want you to see that as an escape loophole escape, and escape to oils too quickly. Okay, and what I'm going to say here is a general rule. The more complex And I just mean that in the plain, old-fashioned, obvious sense of the word. The more complex the subject matter is, and of course I'm talking here because this is quite a complex subject matter. I hope you can discern that. So that means I give myself permission, I allow myself to hang out in acrylics noticeably longer than, and don't go to oil quite as quickly. So it's much easier to make corrections in oil, in acrylics than it is in oil. When I get to the oil, I don't want to be moving big things around. In acrylics, you can move big things around, because in acrylics you just plaster over whatever your mistake. You just plaster over it with another layer of acrylic, right? Opaque. Hello. Thanks for shooting me. That's funny. That's the second time I've said that in the last 10, 15 minutes. So I engender in myself, when doing this a complicated subject matter like this. And again, I'm calling this a complicated subject matter. Lots of architectural details, and Pierce, P-E-A-R-C-E, Boylan, B-O-Y-L-A-N. There we go. Complicated subject matter, complicated perspective, lots of room for all kinds of errors. So I was saying, I used a funny word. I said I engender in myself. I let myself remain content to go slowly. You just don't have to be in a hurry. Just take your time. You know, I've got all night, so to speak. I don't really mean all night, but I've got all evening. This is not a race. It can take a while if I need to. And and again, feel free to keep. I tell myself, feel free to keep making corrections. You don't have to settle. And again, that's one of the biggest mistakes that young artists or early artists make, is they put down their first guess, so to speak, about where things go, and then they're loath to change their mind and move them around. So I'm trying to stay very, very, very flexible. All right, as far as I can tell, you know what, I am going here in a minute, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a picture of this with my phone and do the old mirror image trick. Because I've been staring at it for quite a while now. In fact, tell you what, I will not take a break while I do that. I'll do it right in front of you and try to keep the process transparent to you, because this is a trick worth learning. Now, I learned last week when I was teaching a watercolor class up in the mountains of North Carolina, much to my chagrin, I learned that you iPhone people are at a distinct disadvantage with what I'm going to show you, because your phones are not as the editing capabilities are not as good, or as what's the word I'm looking for? Robust. They're not as robust as the Droid people. So, but you'll just have, that just means you have to download some editing tools on your phone. That's all it means. But the Droid people, they are editing phones come with, again, to use that word again, more robust editing capabilities. I'll show that to you. I'll show all that to you in a minute. Thank you.
Specific handle or anything that you use that I can post?
Yes, on Instagram or Facebook, or you probably do Instagram.
I do all of them. I'm
Do
the
you?
marketing director for the Downtown Raleigh Alliance.
Oh my goodness! What is your name? I'm supposed to know you.
I'm Katie Bailey.
Hi,
I'm
Katie.
new. It's okay.
No, I don't mean I know you're new. I've done a ton of work over the years with
Yeah, it's
Downtown Raleigh
beautiful.
Alliance, but well, after David Diaz left, and then after Chris left, after they get throwing out executive directors faster than I could keep up.
Yeah.
Anyway, good to meet you, Katie. What?
Bailey.
Bailey. Excellent.
Irish cream.
Yes, yes. And in fact, I believe that one of my paintings, one of my big paintings, 4x6, is going to hang, is about to hang right outside your office.
really?
You're on the 12th floor of the Capitol building?
11.
11th floor. Yeah, I'm in at least.
We need some art in there.
Yes, you do.
Blank space.
Yeah,
When we
so-
get off the
so-
elevator. So
Yes, that's
exactly
what's
what we
supposed to
need.
be. Yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. So that's great. Well, good to meet you. So, and who's the executive director now?
Bill King.
That's all I've known. I've looked it up, and I said I should go in and meet that man.
You should.
Well, because I feel like, like I said, I used to do a ton of work for you guys. Every year they used to pay me to paint at Winterfest.
Yeah.
Are they ever going to do Winterfest again, or is that a thing of the past?
We are doing something in the winter, but we are.
Well, we lost our skating rink, obviously. So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, they would pay me to do painting at Winterfest, and then every year they gave it to their Citizen of the Year
Oh,
or something
right,
like that at their banquet in January or February.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I
they
did that for about
changed
10
all
years.
kinds
Yeah.
of things
Yes,
up
I'm
because
sure.
They,
I'm sure.
did a new-
Yeah, I've taken a big thing.
Please do, please do.
Got it turned around and I had to get up.
That's right, that's right. I know. You have to stand in the street and watch me paint. Don't get run over.
Just watch the cars and then
You
watch
just
the
got
paint.
started, right?
Well, yep. What, an hour ago? Something like that?
Wow.
Well, good to meet you, Katie.
Nice to meet
Yes,
you.
and please post me on your website, on
will.
DRA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of all our social media.
Excellent. Oh, do you have a card?
Yes, I do. If I
Oh,
can
good.
actually get to it.
Good. Yeah. And it's just I used to paint on the street a ton. And then I had other assignments for a number of years, so it's been less. But I feel like it's time back again.
Yeah.
So for the last month, I've been down here.
That's great. Yeah, I was like.
About every
walking
other day?
by, I
Good,
walked,
I'm glad you did,
to-
Katie.
Or we park down that way, so
Do ya?
I was like,
Yeah.
I need to go see what's over there.
You park in
Alexander Square.
Yeah, Alexander, yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's a bit of a walk, so you get exercise
It's
every day,
kinda
don't
nice,
you?
though. I kind of like it.
Well-
I take like a different space.
Yeah,
every
okay.
time, so.
Well,
Yeah.
very good to meet you.
Nice to
I'm glad
meet
you
you
stopped
too.
by. Glad to meet you, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm sure
hopefully
I'll
I'll
see you again.
hopefully I'll stick my head in when and if that painting gets hung up in front of your.
Yes, definitely.
In front of your
I'd
door.
love to, if you want to meet Bill, I could definitely set y'all up for a meeting.
Oh, good.
too.
Okay.
So
Thank you,
I will,
Katie.
Send you an email, or you can email me.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Cool. Way cool. Okay. Everything down here is such a mess, hodgepodge now. I really feel like I need to. This kind of looks like a person, like a waiter person, kind of standing and leaning over a little bit. So let's go with that. Way down here is a table. Whoops. I guess the tables are set up straight to the sidewalk, so that's good. So that means they're lines of perspective. This person is sitting down, will have their back sort of to us because they're looking at the waiter person. I'm going to leave that chair completely empty and put another person here, also with their back turned toward us as they look at the waiter person. Another person standing here. I don't usually do my people in white. It's just in this case, my okay, and I think I've moved all the tables closer to the building than they actually are, but that's okay. Because they're kind of far away from the building, so I've moved them closer. Okay, person sitting here and here, a person standing here. So the rule with standing, is that if they're all the same height, here's the horizon right here, eye level, then everybody's heads will be there. And of course, unless they're extremely short person or extremely tall, they'll all be there. So this person right here that I have as a waiter is somebody who's taller than I am because their head is above my eye level. Does that make sense? I was just looking last night at Andrew Loomis, one of the classic figure drawing books in the last century. Figure drawing for all it's worth. And he has several pages. I was quite surprised. He has several pages given to discussing figures and perspective, figures in perspective. And I can't wait to go back and look at it in more detail because it was very, very good, and it's a subject that is very often overlooked in the world and the subject of figure drawing. And that's exactly what I'm dealing with here is figures in perspective. Hello. Thank you. I cannot believe that I only have one black pencil with me. I am really hurting about that, and what a mystery, because I always just put them away. I don't dump them out. I don't take them out. I don't leave them out. So what a mystery. I am a magician, evidently, because I would really like to just tackle all of this right now with 2 black pencils. But it looks like it'll have to be 1 black pencil and maybe 1 red pencil. Let's see how that goes. And all of these figures right now are just very approximate. I certainly hope that people will come to these tables. If not, I'll get online and do a search for people sitting at cafes or something like that, and see if I can find some figures. Or, obviously I can just make them up. I do that plenty. But if it's not good to make up too much stuff too often, because you don't realize it, but you end up just drawing the same stuff over and over, same positions. And I do realize it. Many times I say you, many times the artist doesn't realize they've slipped into habits of just doing these same images, same poses, for instance, over and over and over. And that's what reference, that's what photography does to you. It helps you out of that mess. All right, and my chat is going away, so I need to restart my iPad. Forgive me. I think I'm broadcasting. Yeah, but my iPad monitor abandoned me, evidently, some minutes ago. All right, before I do some more washes, let's do some fun abstract stuff. This is a new toy that I'm using right now, and I don't know if it works or not. They are watercolor crayons. I hardly even know what that means, other than that's what's in my hand. And yes, they are melting because I had water on my tray. So not a good idea. I'm assuming it's not a good idea to have water on your tray when you have watercolor crayons on that same tray. So let's try that. While I'm backstage, I'm going to get a swig of ginger ale. All right, you re-crank up the iPad, and hopefully I'll start seeing your chats now. I'm going to try to do a little bit of sort of precision glazing. So glazing with fairly small brushes. And again, just, oh, you know what? Nope, sorry, hang on. I threatened earlier to do something, now let's do it. All right, this is my backup phone, right? My old Samsung something. I don't know what number it is. All right, so here we go. I'm going to take a picture. I'm sorry, I'm out of your frame right now. I'm having to lean back to get a good image. Hello, Radina. Good to have you on board. All right, so I hope you can see this. So there is my...
Painting before lease advertisement?
No, that's right. All right, so there's the image. I'm gonna hit edit. And the first thing I'm gonna do is crop it to cut out all the junk that's not part of the painting. All right, I don't know how well you can see this. I hope you can see a little bit. There we go. So there's my painting. And then I'm going to flip horizontal. All right, check, save. So now I have what is essentially a mirror image of my painting. That makes sense? And that allows me to see, which indeed it is allowing me to see, much to my chagrin, mistakes, issues. Okay, so way up here, I'm going to change two things. I'm actually going back to a line that I had earlier, changing this line. Oh, that won't do. Let me show you what won't do. I had the top of this building coming up here and the top this way, and they met right at the edge of the canvas. I call that's one example of coterminous shapes or coterminous objects. Some people, I've heard people call them kissing objects, I think that's what they call them. two objects that are meet together like this, like the classic. Let's talk about a landscape. Here's a hill and here's a tree, and the top of the tree stops right at the hill, right? You know that. You know that's bad. That's really bad. Real easy to do. Really easy to make that mistake. So that's what happened up there. So it's easy fix. I just raise the building, make the building slightly taller, so that it doesn't end right at the page. Generally speaking, other than that right up there, I'm fairly happy with that. The other thing is, these tall people over here, when I see them now in mirror image, I realize I do not like that tallness. So let's just bring them down, two of them right there. And then conversely, I believe for some reason, this person over here can actually be slightly taller, according to the way I'm looking at it here. So generally speaking though, I should do that one more time before I'm done, but generally speaking, I'm pretty happy with that image. So that's a giant relief. Let's see if I can get my music to start playing again. And while I'm backstage, drink some more ginger ale. Some of you are wondering, why do I drink ginger ale? It's less sugar than most soft drinks, and the ginger is calming to the stomach. Not that I have gigantic stomach issues, but I have slight stomach issues lately, just lately. So it's a good, just settles things a little bit. Come on, I'm getting I've completely lost connection with my, there we go. Okay, I'm going to keep painting for a while, but I suspect that this is one of those evenings where I'm going to take some breaks from broadcasting and probably paint without your company. But I'll keep going for a while, and then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. All right, so I had just said before I did that mirror trick, whoops. Now, I've got so many things going on here. Nothing wrong with me that a production assistant wouldn't help. Someday we'll have a production assistant. All right, so this is a blue. And I just want to rather surgical glazes with surgical precision. Now the reason that's kind of, what's the word, ironic, or is that usually glazes usually have the connotation of looseness, of broad areas, not fine details. Although now that I think about it, it's like, is that really an absolutely necessary part of the glaze shtick? And I'm not sure that it is, but generally it is. So I will go so far as to say, generally speaking, that's how glazing, I think, is generally considered to be a broad brush, broad area kind of thing, not a detail kind of thing. And anytime, if I want my glazes to be particularly thin, then I use a medium, pour some medium on my brushes. Because if you try to use water, you put the glaze on with water and then it just runs right off the canvas, and it doesn't stay as dark as you want it, as dark as you put it on. Let's just darken some of these people down here. Give them some blue clothing. And since my brushes are so dirty, it's really just dark gray. Since I have dirty brushes right now, I just want to vignette these two corners in particular. Evidently, I'm vignetting. I'm not sure that's a verb, but around here it is. To vignette is to create a vignette. Not sure it's a real word, but around here it is. So, and I just darkened all four corners. No doubt that will happen again more when I do the first oil glaze. All right, now that I've got those. Careful, this is reflection of sky in windows. Does that make sense to you? And now that that's done, I can start doing what? You know what? I'm in an unusual, not extremely unusual, but somewhat unusual position now, where this happens only occasionally. I'm going to do some opaque color. Usually in this stage, all the color is transparent and the white is opaque. Hello. Yes. But because of where I've ended up here, I'm going to do so I'm mixing up some white with orange and white with yellow. And because this building right here is decided is a yellow building, and so it's just glazing it right now would not do any good because it's so dark. It's already so dark that glazing would just make it darker, muddier, messier. So. But I want it to be more yellow. So I've mixed up then, again, a little bit unusual, an opaque yellow. And because I'm using an opaque paint, then I'm doing, let me move this speaker. Something's rattling. I paint differently, quite differently with opaque paints than I do with transparent paints. When I paint transparent, I'm quite careful. No, I'm sorry. When I paint opaque, I'm quite careful to let my strokes breathe. Now that's a good expression. I've never ever used that before. So new here tonight. Let me unusual expression. Let me try to describe what I mean by that. I want my strokes to have air around them. I want there to be gaps between hang on a second. My fine costume just suffered a wardrobe malfunction. My suspenders came loose on one side. By the way, again, if you're new to my channel, if you're an old timer, you know this, but if you're new, this suspenders and bow tie and tucked shirt thing is new. This is a new shtick. And just again, this afternoon, my wife, she was with me in the bedroom while I was getting out of my normal clothes, shorts and a t-shirt, you know, to put on my my new shtick, my new paint downtown costume. And she said, I really think that works for you. And that was nice of her to say that. Well, I'm being silly, kind of. The point is, I said, yeah, you know what? I think it does too. Anyway, so this what I'm wearing is a new development, and it just feels appropriate. I'll tell you something that you young people don't really know. When you're young, when you're young, everybody's good looking. You don't know that yet, but you are, well, almost everybody. Almost everybody's beautiful when you're young. And, you know, so if you're in the high school theater department and you're young and beautiful, you can play the romantic lead. But beauty fades like a flower. And then you're not the romantic lead anymore. So I'm using that funny analogy. Theater. And then the only role open to you is crazy old coot, if you're a guy, or old master. So I've tried to tap into the old master shtick, thus the bow tie. But the other thing I was going to say is, other than black bow ties, which I have plenty of, and some Christmas red bow ties or New Year's red bow ties, this is the only, bow tie I've got that's neither Christmas red, Valentine's red, or black. So I am in the market suddenly for some new bow ties and suspenders. Isn't life funny? So I'll be going out and shopping for some bow ties. Who'd have thunk it? And yes, this particular tie is a clip-on. Any ties that I buy from this point on will be bow tie, real bow ties. What's the difference between a bow tie and a cravat? Does anybody know? Are they the same thing? I am deeply confused. Deep, I tell you, it's deep. All right, let's keep our mind on the business at hand. All right, now all your chats are showing up. So I can see I've got a lot of catching up to do here in a little while. I've now mixed up a dirty brick red color because the building I'm painting is, shall we say, dirty brick red. All right, so I was saying, I started to talk about when I paint in opaque, which of course is usually normally just in the oil stage. It's a little bit unusual here, but in any case, I paint quite differently, and one of the main things is I try to create air gaps, not literally air, you understand, but gaps between the strokes. And that's, I said, a new expression I used a little while ago. I said I want my strokes to breathe. I want to give them breathing room. Because the opaque paint, of course, covers stuff up. And so if you paint with opaque paints, in my opinion, if you put down a stroke and it's wall to wall, one stroke overlaps onto the next stroke, which overlaps onto the next stroke, and so on and so on and so forth. you end up with a plastered look. Now, some people can do it and can do it well, but you've perhaps heard me say in the past, people who do paint with opaque colors, they can be good painters. They can. But in my humble or not so humble opinion, however good they are, they in fact would be better painters if they switched to a transparent technique. So that's just my own little opinion, and I very well may be wrong. But that's an opinion I've held for a long time and still hold to it, that transparent colors are far richer, more physics, in the physics sense of the word, more complex. And that's not a matter of debate, that's a matter of mathematics, it's a matter of science. It's like, well, you think they're more, no, this has nothing to do with my opinion. This is just the way it is. So transparent colors. Now, having called all of this that I'm doing right now, having called all of this opaque paint, let me make a quick correction that everything I'm putting on, have been putting on for the last several minutes here, is actually not opaque at all. It's technically or literally translucent. I call it opaque loosely speaking. It's acrylic paint that is not mixed with transparent medium. So ostensibly, that is to say, it's supposed to be opaque, but of course it's one of the strengths and weaknesses of acrylic paints is that they are not very opaque. You really have to plaster acrylic paints. You have to really have to slap it down thick in order for it to be truly opaque. So I calling it opaque, but it's actually translucent. But still, the same principle holds. I want my opaque, quote unquote, so to speak. I want my opaque colors to breathe. So I leave gaps between them. I don't have each one overlapping with the one next to it. There, that was a mouthful. Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
be nosy.
Please do. I'm here to be nosed at.
I know, right? My roommate does it too. Jeff did that last week. She did it live.
All right. Now let's see. Let's take a fresh look at everything here. See where I'm at. In fact, I'm gonna step back several. Oh, the evening is just getting beautiful right now. Man, I'm gonna make a big change. Just stood back. Well, medium big, and that is this building just needs to be taller. I keep raising it up, and it's still not tall enough. So yeah, it's a rather homely affair right now, to tell you the truth. My senses are considerably assaulted by all this opaque stuff that it looks like somebody else is painting. It looks like the way other people paint. That sounded like an insult, didn't it? I didn't mean for that to be negative. It does. It looks like somebody's painting that's not mine. And I'm not responding to that, and I'm not feeling good about that. It's not like, oh, it looks like a great painting. Somebody is way better than me. No, it looks looking like somebody that's worse than me. Sorry.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
So that'll be. Don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it. It will all come out just fine. as I do more and more layers and glazes and so on. It's a mess right now, but it will be beautiful. Trust me. Yeah, it will. Yeah, well, there's my finished one. Did you see that?
Yeah, wow.
Is this really?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
It's a picture of Rob.
Yes, yes. From, yeah, do you recognize the building at the end of the street there? No, other in this painting is that building.
Wait, this is that building?
Yes, yes, yes.
Which building?
Can you see it? Yeah, that's fine.
It's the view from across the street looking that way.
See it? Like the little.
Wow, yeah, I see it. I see it.
Oh, I see it. Wow. It's actually good.
Thank you.
What is this street name called?
Oil painting.
What?
What is this? What is
No,
what
the
called?
street.
Oh, Fayetteville Street.
Fayetteville.
Fayetteville. Yeah.
Is it famous in Raleigh, the street?
It's our main street.
Oh,
Yeah, because there's the Capitol and there's Memorial Auditorium, and it's only 6 blocks long, so
Right.
it's our main street for sure. Yeah. Where are you guys from? Where are you from?
I'm from Richmond.
Yeah, but where are you from originally?
Like originally I'm from Hungary.
Welcome to America.
Thank you so
Welcome to
much.
Raleigh. Are you students by any chance?
Yeah,
yes.
we are.
Where are you from?
Syria.
I'm from Richmond, but I'm originally Syrian.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good to have you here.
Bulgarian, Syrian.
And-
He's from DC.
Yeah, you're American.
I'm American. Yeah. I'm from DC, but
Yeah.
my parents are from Ethiopia. We're soccer players. Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah. yeah.
Are you at state?
No,
Where?
we're at
Lewisburg
Lewisburg
College.
College.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, we play soccer.
Good
there.
for
We're all
you.
teammates.
We're teammates.
That fantastic.
Yeah, we came here to visit.
Yeah.
Good
I've-
for you.
I've been, I played soccer in West Virginia,
Yeah.
and I've been to a lot of different cities in the States, and this is kind of it's cool. This is really different because they have a lot of artifacts, a lot of museum, the
Yeah,
museum,
yeah.
the plant, and everything.
Yeah.
You could read everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's really nice.
I've never seen someone paint in like this attire. Like,
I
I've
know
seen-
it.
You
I've
see it a
seen
lot in
pe-
New York, but you don't see them in this time. This is
Yeah,
That's right.
People like usually
It's
wear their
part of my
paint.
shtick.
Is this your work?
Yes, it's my
Yeah.
job.
It is?
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you like it?
Very much. Yeah,
Are you live streaming now?
I am
you
on
live
on YouTube. Yeah, yeah.
No
Here,
way.
can I
What-
can I turn you guys?
Yeah.
All right, here's all right.
get a
Hungary,
picture?
Syria,
yeah,
and
then
Ethiopia.
Yeah,
Whoa,
yeah, exactly.
very good.
What's your YouTube channel?
It is Dan Nelson Art.
Can you?
Yep, yep. Did you start? Okay, good.
It's so cool. It's like really positive. I like that.
Thank you.
You're doing it. Whatever you're doing, you're happy doing it. So that's good.
There it
Yeah,
is.
separate. Have you always been painting?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, really, my whole life.
When is this going to be up?
It's up right now.
It's up.
It's broadcasting right
Where
now.
is it?
Yeah, good. Let's see it. There it is, right there.
Yeah! 23 people watch us.
That's great.
Crazy. Nice meeting you.
Good to meet you all.
It was nice to meet
Thank
you.
you.
Nice to meet
Play well. I hope you win.
you.
Thank you for visiting our fair city.
No,
All the best to you in Lewisburg.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
man.
great.
Can I take
Appreciate
a-
it. Can I take a picture of
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I take a picture with you?
certainly.
Like you just painted a little bit. I just want to see your craft.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, and so you've seen what my finish looks like. So this will look like, so you can tell that it's a very, very rough
Yeah. No,
still.
But I can see the beauty in it.
It's coming, but it's got a long ways to go.
How much is a picture?
I would let that one go for 500 or 600, preferably 6. Now in a gallery, this one is $2,400.
Wow.
But as the little sign says right here, like if you're you guys are college students,
Yeah,
so
we
you're,
can afford
no. But if you're lucky enough to catch me on the street, I sell it like that for. That one would be, I don't know, 1,500 or something.
So don't you scared like the rain is coming or something, then all is like.
Yep,
Well,
all
that's
is
why.
like-
that's right. I had more umbrellas in my car.
Can I take a picture with you?
Certainly, please do. All right, Victor Orban. Did I say the right name? No. What's the name of Hungarian?
Viktor Orban, he said it.
Excuse me, what did you say?
Oh yeah, you're from Syria.
Yeah.
You're the Syrian.
Yeah.
Viktor Orban from.
You know Viktor Orban?
Yeah,
Yeah. You like him?
I do.
I don't.
That's because you're young.
Yeah, so you're a Trump supporter?
Yes.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Very
sir.
good to meet you.
Have a good
And we're glad you're
Very
here.
nice to meet you.
Trump supporters are very glad you're here.
Thank you.
Bless you guys. I shouldn't be saying that on my
Yeah, you
camera.
should, yeah.
Sorry, you guys. We got political just for a second there, but he asked me. I'm sorry.
We're all human beings.
Yeah.
Everyone has their
I
own
mean,
opinions.
Trump does a good job.
Yes.
But economic very much.
Everyone has their
Don't
own
believe the news.
Yeah.
He's not a racist. That's absurd.
Yeah,
It's absurd. He was never a racist when all the lefties liked him. He's been public for 30 years. Everybody knows him. He was never so. But if the Democrats don't think you're a racist, then they have no reason to exist. Do you know a French word? Raison d'être. That means reason for existence. If I'm not a racist, then the leftists in America, they lose their raison d'être. They have no reason to exist if I'm not a racist. So they have to declare that I'm a racist so that they can continue to exist on the planet. Otherwise, the reason for their existence disappears instantly.
Yeah,
So they
I mean,
scream
you
all the
can't-
time, racist, 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 because they have to believe
I mean,
it.
You can't say that
mean,
you can't say every Trump supporter is racist
No.
or every Democrat. It's not true.
That's true. Thank you.
But
People
there's
have their own
people
opinion.
who racist who was for Trump. But like
They're
I don't
also-
know.
they're
I
also
don't know
racist.
about a lot of American politics.
Yeah.
I know in Hungary actually Orban Viktor's not a good president. Like this is actually true. I don't know how.
And I don't know him very well, so.
Yeah. I know Orban and Trump is a big friend.
Is he? Well, I wish you guys all the best
Thank you so much.
very much. You take a picture, another picture?
You and the painter.
Okay, good. Very good to meet you. And I'm glad you're here. Thank you for honoring us by visiting our country.
It's a nice picture.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Likewise.
Nice,
Likewise. Thank you.
Talking
Thank you.
about your ideology too.
Thank you.
Open to.
Hope I didn't blow away any of my viewers. Ignore all this.
I'm open to.
Bless you. Good to have, especially from Syria. Whew. I'm glad you're alive, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'm just glad you're here.
What's the phrase again? You said the raison.
Raison,
Raison d'être.
raison d'être, D-E-T-R-E.
Okay.
Reason for existence.
Yeah.
Raison d'être.
You got good with
All
language.
right. Bye.
See ya. My apologies again for getting into politics at all. I just lost 14 viewers. I hope not. But anyway, Jane. Oh no, don't go there. Uncle 60 Jane. Okay. No, we will not go there any more than we already did. Sorry about that. All right, so now that I've got all that opaque stuff here, so I can cover it up now with translucent, and it instantly becomes much more alive. warm up all the stuff down here. All right, that looks a little bit better. Maybe I can get by with just one more layer of white, and then I'll end this broadcast before I go to oils, okay? All right, let me see. Okay, I'm looking at some of your chats now, especially Jane, and Jane says too late, and Susan agrees with Jane. Okay, I guess when you operate on it as transparent as I do, you know, it's bound to come out sooner or later. I will say, and again, so I won't make any more political statements except to say, I accept all of you wherever you are at. I will say that it's very possible that the favor is not returned in not from you, but necessarily, but okay. And as you all well know, I am way more than just an artist. My master's degree is essentially in philosophy and history. And I'm open to lots of things. Certainly not a die-hard conservative, certainly not at all. So forgive me if I offended any of you. I'll just let it go at that, okay? My sincere apologies. I didn't do it on purpose, as I hope you can see. I was relating to the young man from Hungary, and he asked me a point-blank question, and I couldn't see any way to wiggle out of it. So. Willing to accept and would welcome conversation, not on YouTube, of course. never with an audience. I would never discuss anything like that, any of this, with an audience, because when there's an audience involved, all the parties revert to grandstanding and so forth. So, as far as serious, level-headed conversation, always welcome. Yep. All right. I hope we weather that storm. There you go. Yes. Lady saying she should have taken a picture of it when she walked in.
Susan and others, I see some fascinating conversation going on. I hope you're right, Radina. I'm not sure you are, but I hope you are. All right, so I nearly finished, and I'm going to abandon the light stuff here for a minute and do some more, do work on these figures down here. All right, gang. I think I've read most of your chats. I'm not sure I'm going to take time to read them all out loud. Maybe we'll pull up my iPad here for a minute. Let's see if there's anything I absolutely need to respond to. There probably is. Oh, thank you, Susan. Cravats are flamboyant and blousy. I don't think I'll be getting a cravat then. I think I want a bow tie. Uncle 60 asked the question. Yes, I put down rugs, area rugs, floor mats, the kind of thing that you walk across when you go into a store, you know, all-weather, rubber-backed. I have several of them down, yes, and a couple of them stacked up so that my feet don't get so sore. Good question. That's right. Don't look at this one, look at the other one. You guys. Okay. Yeah, right. No private site on YouTube. That's exactly. Susan, bless you. You're welcome to your, yes, of course, you are welcome to your opinion. As I am to mine, but I won't usually voice it. I've been quite well behaved, haven't I? For 3 years. I don't think I've ever said that man's name, ever. I was asked a direct question, sorry, couldn't dodge it. All right, love all your chats. Like, I read through them quickly because there were so many of them. Enjoy it. All right, so I'm still a little bit flummoxed about not having my black pencils. But I'll just have to soldier forth and see what I can do. But I'll end this broadcast here, and I'll paint for a while without you. Sorry. And then, just in case anybody comes over along and asks me any political questions, I can answer them with impunity. And I'll bring you back when I'm somewhere in the oils. Okay? Thanks, you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.